Husted now, Senator Kaine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What a great panel. Glad that you're all here. Son of an iron worker. My dad ran this iron worker organized ironworking shop. A lot of folks in the shop had come through the apprentice programs with the iron workers, saw the value of the public-private management labor model. I associate myself with Senator Sanders' questions as well as a big promoter of career and technical education. Kids in high school who are in career and tech programs, they love their academic subjects better because it turns out that in the classroom they realize it's not just about the memorization of facts. The involvement in technical education enables them to see, oh, these aren't just facts, they actually have real-world applications. So I'm glad that we're focused on this topic. Dr. McCain, I'm very familiar with the apprenticeship program, but you said something that interested me. You might have picked up a little bit on the point that Senator Sanders made, that you are now seeing students that are having to kind of convince their parents that, hey, this is a good model. So I imagine you must work with guidance counselors in the local school systems, folks who may not consider technical or apprenticeship type careers. We need to sort of broaden their aperture. Describe a little bit about how you make the case to parents, guidance counselors, and others.
Absolutely. So we started a pre-apprenticeship program. We realized that we needed to go back into K-12 and invite parents to be along in the process. And so to be a part of the pre-apprenticeship program, you have to bring your parents to get an overview of what the program is all about. And so once parents come in and they lock into what we're doing and understanding that we're giving their students augmented and virtual reality around shipbuilding, understanding shipbuilding, we also allow the parents to be able to go through the training as well. And so to be able to bring the parents along with the students, we have guidance counselors that actually come to our school. We actually have a whole day where we expose the guidance counselors to shipbuilding and what we're all about. And so to be able to bring all of the stakeholders to the table, to be a part of the journey with the students, and get them on board early, we found that to be very, very essential for the growth of our school.
That's excellent. Thanks, Dr. McCain. And to Mr. Booker and Mr. Downey, thank you guys for your important leadership. You know, you talked about the chaos factor, and I want to focus on that too. President Trump has canceled a ton of economic development projects in Virginia, and I'll tell you what my suspicion is. I wish it was otherwise. I don't think he liked the fact that it was a Joe Biden bill. I mean, I don't really think he's intentionally trying to hurt the economy. That's in fact what he's doing, but I think these projects are being canceled because they were part of a Biden bill. I hope he'll restore them so that the economy can get back on track. The economy's got all kinds of smoke coming out of it and red lights flashing right now, and these projects need to be done. But here's an opportunity for President Trump and Congress in a bipartisan way. We did the bipartisan infrastructure law in November of 2021, 5-year investment, $1.2 trillion of infrastructure money. About 750 billion of it had already been programmed. It was existing funding sources, but it was an additional add-on of 550 billion over 5 years, 100 billion a year. Many of the projects that you're describing that the operating engineers and the laborers are working on have been funded because of that money. But the revenue sources and the program expires November of 2026. Here would be an excellent opportunity. It was bipartisan, and it can be bipartisan again. President Trump and Congress, Democrats and Republicans, we shouldn't let those revenue sources expire. We should continue them, and then President Trump can focus on a number of his own infrastructure priorities. He's talked, for example, about modernizing the air traffic control system. That's not cheap. We put $12 billion in it in the reconciliation bill, but it's going to take at least another $20 billion, maybe more. Would it be a good idea for the folks that you guys represent if Congress in a bipartisan way were to work together with President Trump to extend that bipartisan infrastructure law for another 5 years?
Without question, absolutely. It's going to create jobs. And Senator Marshall left. I just want to circle back on one of the things he said of you know, what's the scale of a labor on an oil and gas project versus a solar project. Because of the infrastructure bill, because of the IRA, because of the CHIPS bill, that rate was the same. And those laws made sure that they were high-scale living wage jobs.
And as far as you're concerned, they're all good.
And they're good jobs because they're people who are firmly in the middle class. Same thing with this. If we let the infrastructure bill expire, if we let the IRA, what the reconciliation bill did with taking those tax credits away from the IRA, it means that it's going to be low road, unscrupulous contractors going back into these markets. If Congress works together and do what they did before in a bipartisan way, transportation bills, infrastructure has always been bipartisan. Let's lift up our citizens. Let's lift up our members. Let's lift up Americans to build our nation's energy and physical infrastructure.
Thanks so much. We can do this together, and it can be a big win not only for workers and the economy. It can be a big win for President Trump because, again, he has some key priorities that will need that funding in order to enable us to get there. So I hope we can work on that between now and next November and get it done. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Senator Kaine, there's so many bipartisan bills on this. We can actually do this piece of legislation. I just want to stress that because when we were doing the preparation, and there's a lot of overlap between your two stuff. Again, Mr. Booker, you started off by saying, my gosh, you don't want a pipeline discontinued and then restarted and discontinued. That was the Keystone XL. So I think every side has their grievances. We need certainty and stability. I actually